So we all know that the post office has been performing under standard lately. They've been losing a lot of money for the last maybe 10 to 15 years. And according to valueaddedresource.com, the United States Postal Service is currently petitioning the Postal Regulatory Commission with a request to remove the current price cap system that allows them, that gives them guides on how much they can raise postage for every year, and they want to have broader authority to raise their prices in an attempt to improve their financial outlook. So I'm pretty interested in how the post office got into this situation and how this could affect resellers who are sending out packages like the ones I'm going to pack later on tonight. So let's take a look at some post office history and see what we can figure out. Okay, so like I said, we all probably know that the post office has been struggling financially in recent years, and then we can figure out that this new petition will afford them some control over price increases. And this is basically just the latest plan to fix the issues. And unfortunately, they're going to solve this problem, this financial problem, by taking their missing funds from the wallets of their customers. But historically, before 2006, really, the post office has been operating at least break-even levels and even profitable levels based solely on the postage fees and other services, smaller services. And we should know that the post office is not funded by taxes. And that postage was enough to keep them going for hundreds of years. I think the current system of the post office was set in place in like the 70s, but it wasn't really until 2006 when Congress, claiming that it needed to give the post office modern tools to compete and adapt to the changing communications market, they passed something they called the Postal Accountability and Enhancement Act. Reportedly, the George W. Bush administration had like outsized influence on this act, and they specifically requested that Congress include a provision that required pre-funding of retired employees' pension plans for 75 years into the future. So, I mean, this is a burden that no financial agency and no private company faces this kind of financial strain. So that one aspect of this new act was basically adding about, I think it was like close to 6 million, like 5.7 to 5.8 million, billion, not million, billion dollars in annual cost to the post office. So this act came right at a time when online communication, the internet was exploding, and essentially email was causing mail volume to decrease, and thus USPS revenue was dropping, quickly and drastically. So this wasn't a great time to add an extra burden of close to $6 billion a year. This is also shortly just before the Great Recession of 2008, and then there was nearly a decade or more of economic changes like rising cost of employee health benefits, workers' comp costs, just normal general inflation, which made it even more difficult for the USPS to keep up with the cost of pre-funding and prepaying these future pensions. Eventually, after about 15 years of annual losses at the USPS, Congress finally acknowledged that they made a mistake, and they passed a new act called the Postal Service Reform Act of 2022, which repealed like at least part of the retiree pre-funding obligation that then offered some financial stability to the USPS, but a decade and a half of damage had already been done, and the USPS has continued to lose billions of dollars every year. In 2020, Louis DeJoy was appointed as the Postmaster General, and that didn't really help the situation very much. His plan was to reduce operating costs, raise prices of postage, and consolidate facilities in order to try to fix the situation. So basically what his plan was to charge more for a slower service. So that's not usually a great tactic when you're trying to bring in more customers. So this caused the USPS to lose even more money over the next couple of years. Of course, Louis DeJoy is the owner of a private logistics company, and so he could really only profit if the USPS loses business. So it's hard to not see a conspiracy, but is there really a conspiracy to devalue the U.S. Post Office in order to benefit private shippers? Um, Maybe not. I mean, who knows? But it's definitely the fact that the USPS has been slowly starved by these policy choices that make it look like it's an inefficient organization. It's expensive and outdated. And maybe this is all put into place to prove that it shouldn't exist or that maybe it should be privatized. I'm not really an expert on this subject. I don't understand the politics of it necessarily, and I definitely don't understand how a package that I put in the mail on a Monday could be in Texas or Oregon 4 or 5 days later, and it only cost me $7. That seems crazy to me, but this is a complicated situation. And I feel like if we want to complain about rising prices, which maybe we should, and if we want to complain about slower delivery, which this time of year is definitely an issue, maybe we should know who we should be pointing our fingers at. I don't think it's necessarily the mail carriers or the desk clerks or anybody like that sorting people. These people are just hardworking people who are trying to do a job, but somebody is at fault, and the history kind of tells us who. Okay, that's enough. Let's go pack. I think there's just 2 packages, so let's get them packed so we can ship them out tomorrow. All right, as I was coming over here, the 2 orders turned into 3. I got 1 order that I'm gonna pack up. I don't have a lot of time. It's after 5. I want to get home. I'm going to my family. We're doing our Christmas stuff this weekend. So I want to get down there tonight. I'll be spending the night, and I'm trying to get there by 7. It's probably an hour and a half drive. I still have to pack clothes, and I have to bring a pizza. So I have to order a pizza. They want me to bring a big deep dish pizza down. I'm the one who lives in Chicago, so I got that responsibility. Right here, I just packed up this Radica. It's like an electronic handheld fishing game. Sorry I didn't show it to you. I got busy talking about other stuff. But this, I paid $1 for this. I sold it for $13.50 plus shipping. So it's going out tonight, and it's going all the way to Australia. So I didn't really have to put it in a nice box, a nice brand new box, because it's such a cheap item. But it is going all the way to Australia. So I wanted to put it in a box that will make it that far. So let's get a weight on it. 1 pound. What's it say? 11 by 9 by 7, and it's going to EIS. So I'll just write that on here. That's eBay International Shipping. So a good program where eBay takes care of shipping internationally. So I'll ship that to the eBay hub, and they'll ship it the rest of the way to Australia. Next thing up here is 2 plates. These are smaller salad plates, Waterford. It's called Lismore Lace. It's got a gold pattern on it. I already some of these plates I put a cardboard in between and bubble wrap in between, and some of them I did already. I usually do it just when I'm getting ready to ship, but these ones I wrapped up and I wrote on the side what it was, so I wouldn't have to try to dig around looking for the maker's marks or whatever in a stack of plates. Okay, where's the seam? There, right there. So I'm going to put more bubble wrap on this. And this box is a little bit bigger than it needs to be for these small plates, but it's the one I have handy right now, and I'm in a hurry, so I don't want to try to find a more appropriate box. I might consider resizing it a little bit if I can do it quickly. So this can probably go down this much, about this much. So we got that part done, and then cut these corners out real quickly. I don't know exactly where this is going. Let's see. It's going to North Carolina. I guess that's quite a long trip, I guess. So hopefully this will be fine. I do get worried about shipping fragile stuff that's got a long distance to go. So here we go, put them in here. I'm trying to float these these plates right in the center of this box and filling it up with paper to keep it there in the middle. Okay, these corners need to be filled. Okay, that's good, nice and tight. Let's see how heavy it is. 2 pounds 8. I don't think I can get 8 ounces out of here by cutting off any of those cardboard flaps. So I'm just going to leave them on, be a little bit more protection for the plates. And then I mean, it feels good, nice and solid. Plates, 2.8 I said. This is 12 by 12 by, it's going to be 5. And where did I say MC? These are going to MC in North Carolina. So get that one out of the way. And then the order that just came in, this isn't going to be a very good one. It's a small Zippo lighter. I mean, it's a normal size Zippo lighter, but it's a purple one with a camel logo on it, and it says 1993. So I was at a garage sale. A guy had a ton of Zippos. He wanted $20 a piece for all of them. And somehow or another, there was one that I wanted that was going to be valuable enough to pay for the others that I bought. And I needed to get 3. I don't remember the deal, but I bought 3 of them. He had them at $20 a piece. One of them I sold for like, I don't know, over $100. And then I sold these other ones for just barely over the cost I paid for them. So I paid $20 for this. I sold it for $28.49. I'm just going to I put it in one bubble mailer. I'm going to put it inside another bubble mailer, basically just for time efficiency. I just want to get this done tonight because I have other things I need to do. And I'm going to take these with me and then put them in the post office in my hometown in the morning, because I can't drop them off tonight. They don't technically have to go out. I could wait and ship these on Monday, but it feels good to get them out, and it feels good to finish up a video. This is only 3 ounces. 10 by 10 by 1, and it's going to RP in Florida. Okay, I'm gonna get labels for these and get them printed and stuck on here, and then I'll come back, tell you the exact profits of these, and then I'm gonna go home. All right, these are ready to go. Let's quickly go over profits and call it a day. So here we go. The Erratica Lunker Bass electronic handheld fishing game, I paid $1 for it. I sold it for $13.49 on sale. I charged $7.33 shipping. The actual shipping was $6.21, so we made a little bit there, $1.10. The eBay fees were $2.67, and so we ended up making a profit of $10.94 on that. The 2 Waterford plates, we ended up making $48.07 on those, so that's pretty good. Those sold for, I bought those for $4 and sold them for $60. After fees and everything, we're at $48.07. And then finally, the Zippo lighter, I paid $20 for it, sold it for $28.50, and after fees, we earned $6.17. So could have been better, could have been worse. So that's it for today. Total profit for me, today is the day after Christmas. It's the 26th. This won't go up until Monday. But right now, we've got a profit for the day of only $65.17. Not great, especially because we're so close to the end of the year, and my goal is close. It's going to be close, but no cigar. I'm still $3,200 away from that goal of $50,000. So a $65 day isn't going to get us there. We need to have, what, like $2,000 or $3,000 days in the next week. But we're not going to get that, but we're going to get close. So that's it. Hope you have a good week. Thanks for watching. I should be back tomorrow with another video. I think tomorrow's going to be a shopping video, an eBay sourcing video. So stay tuned for that. Tune in for that, I should say. Okay, thank you. Have a good night. Have a good week. Bye.